to how. All right? As we focus our point number 2, the worldwide message on a worldwide platform, let me now share with you some of the platforms that can be used to reach not just the millennials and not just the Generation Z, but to everybody. You know, I thank God for the sister who said she was even part of the silent generation. There's many people that are on and are getting acclimated to social media. Okay, you know, the day of television is almost going to be gone.
Yeah. Right.
I've got couples now that are, and young people that are getting their apartments. They don't have a phone in their apartment, and they don't have cable in their apartment.
Right.
Because through their internet, they're able to get all of the television, the programming that you would normally get on television.
Right.
So they're using all of these means, and that's what we're also doing, is reaching many people through what I'm getting ready to share with you. So, video and social networking. This is the worldwide message. And we're spanning the globe with the gospel.
Yes.
This is not a means by which was created for Satan's use. I believe this was created for us in the church to use.
Right.
But we are so far behind that the adversary has taken it and run with it.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I believe this is what the Diocesan and the chairman and others wanted me to share, how we can utilize these tools effectively for the church.
Right.
Right. Now they're trying to get the internet up because I want to actually show you some things that we do in our local church. But when it comes to the video and the internet, every viable church should have a website. All right. Our website is www.newbethelkc.org. Okay. And as I mentioned, I have staff who monitors and makes sure that is updated every week.
Yes.
One of the worst things you can do is have a website.
Right.
And you're not keeping it up.
That's right.
Prior to me, listen, prior to me coming here, I looked up the website of the Mountain State Council. And I also looked up the website of the church here.
Right.
I do that before I travel anywhere, just to get an idea of what I'm walking into.
Yes.
Well,
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely.
So I saw the programming. That's why if you noticed on the first slide, I had the same exact thing on your program.
Yes.
Because I copied that, put it on my slide, so I can blend right on in.
all right.
Yes.
All right.
But a website becomes now the primary tool that people use to know about your church before they even get there.
Right.
Somebody say amen.
Amen.
So if you're going to be viable, you have to have a good website. Now, depending upon how much money you want to spend, your website can have the bells and the whistles, or it can just be basic. And your basic websites literally do not cost a lot to design. And in some instances, when you do a subscription with certain places for a minimal amount, they'll actually build your website for you.
That's right.
Now, when you get the chance or the opportunity, I would like for you to visit our website. You will see that's the website that we encourage our members to go to. That's the site they go to get the new members classes, the things that are happening, what's going on. We have it filled with pictures because people are visual.
Yes.
All right. I teach every Bible class using a PowerPoint. Sometimes when I'm preaching, I'll use PowerPoint on a Sunday morning.
Right.
Because people will retain information better when they see it. And when it's combined with hearing and writing, it has a greater impact. You see what I'm saying? So every church needs to have a website. Prior to me going anywhere, I look to see what does that website say.
Right.
That tells me a whole lot from there.
Okay.
And guess what? People who want to visit your church, visitors, they're going to go to a website. If they see that you don't have a website, they might not even go.
That's
Right.
You're right. Amen.
Because they're saying you're not even relevant to the times.
Amen.
Right.
That's what they say.
Now, in most churches, hallelujah, you should have access to the internet available to people who attend your church.
Right. Right.
What am I saying? You gain access to the internet by having the means of, if you don't have a hotspot, you got to have access to getting on the internet.
Right.
Most people come prepared to get on the internet
Right.
when they come to church.
Right.
If you do not have that available, they see that as a disadvantage.
Right. Right.
That's true.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
It's just like when you go to a hotel,
Right.
people want to have internet access.
Right.
If you're traveling to certain locations, people want to be connected.
Right.
Right.
So if you don't have the means to be connected in your church, then you're already at a disadvantage. I hope you're taking notes. I'm just trying to help you.
Right.
As the assignment that we're getting, okay? You got it up? This is one of the areas, I hadn't got to it quite yet, but I sent to the chairman some of the things that we're doing that I want you to see. One of this, now this is our point of view radio broadcast. What we stopped doing is paying a radio station, because we used to have a radio program,
Right.
30 minutes every week or whatever,
Right.
only to find out people aren't listening to the radio program.
Right.
So again, the question, why? Why still have a radio program if nobody's listening to it? But this is what we've always done.
Yes.
But if it's not effective, let's change it.
Right.
So what we did, we now on the internet offer a radio program, and this is again done by our young people. I stopped preaching.
Right.
Oh, they used to take my messages and put it on the radio broadcast.
Right.
Well, now it is so relevant that this generation's the one that's on the radio, on the internet.
Right.
I stopped preaching. And again, it gets back to how I'm able to attract young people. I gave them then the opportunity to spread the gospel by their means
Right.
to others. And just because I'm the pastor don't mean I have to preach every service
Right.
or be in everything. I need to go somewhere and sit down and rest. Hallelujah. So this is we call it the Point of View radio broadcast, and it's actually on the internet. Let's just take a look at it. Thank you, District Elder. Go ahead.
Jeff?
Sorry, you took
Okay, you ready?
Yep, ready, go.
Now. Bring the sound up.
Everybody, we are here again at the NBC studios, coming to you with a Point of View broadcast. This is your boy El Real. I'm here, as always, with my two wonderful friends in here, and so we are.
That's my daughter, one of my pastors and one of our youth leaders.
This week because we got some stuff to talk about, right? So, you guys have heard, have you, I don't know if you've heard or not, about the guy on the plane. You heard about that, you seen, well, it is true.
something that's on our internet, okay? Our channel on internet. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, but I want you to get the feel. This has actually been put on, and people follow us from around the country.
Right.
Yes.
They actually follow us around the country. They deal with relevant issues that are happening at the moment and then give a biblical perspective on what has happened.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Love it.
And this is my daughter, Amiris, and that's Minister Anthony Nickens. These two are actually employed in the church. They're the ones that handle most of our social media activities. He's the one that wrote the movie that I told you about. It would be fantastic to show that movie at councils, at different locations. It's a safe position.
For some of the employees who needed to get to Kentucky. So they went through the process of, saying, hey, we're offering $400 if anybody wants to get groups pumped up for the flight or, something like that. They went from $400 to $800 to $1,000.
Now the issue they're dealing with, you remember that instance where somebody was dragged off of the plane because they needed their seat? They're talking about that from a point of view from the scriptures in the biblical position, and they're dealing with that issue.
I would have told Lisa, you go ahead on now. I'll stay in Chicago for $1,000.
Okay, Distria, let's stop it there, and you can get the next one ready.
Go ahead and stop it, Jeff.
All right, thank you. How'd you enjoy that? Now again, that was something that we were doing weekly, okay? Again, not actually going on a radio broadcast where they heard part of the message being preached.
Right.
But this now is more relevant with young people talking to young people. And we've had a following from people all over the country and are able, they give us feedback, things of that nature from that particular perspective. Let's pull up the next one if you can that I sent to you.
Point of view?
The other link that I gave you. In fact, while you're there, why don't you pull up, here, let's put up our website. Let me see, let me see what you have there. Yeah, pull up,
Okay.
go this way.
Okay, so you're good.
Bear with me. I'm going to try to pull up our website so you can even see that. Okay, here it is. Now,
I saw that picture.
this, and you can hit the lights if you would, but you can keep those on in the back if you want, but maybe we can. This just gives you, the first time you come to our website, these are the things that you see. We offer different photos of events that have happened. At the top, we have the home, what we're about, this we believe, our mission, our history, our future, and it talks about my wife and I, in the various ministries that we have, our live streaming, and we'll talk about that in the next session. We actually have a live streaming, and I believe you said you do too as well, Bishop Newman?
Yes.
Where inexpensively we offer our services that people can see live, all right? And it's just like television, but instead of using the television, people see it through their computer.
Right.
I even have a church app. I'll share with you in a minute. We have an app that you can actually pull down if you have an iPhone or Android, and you can actually follow us on services from your smartphone.
Yes.
And we keep other things going on with that as well. So again, this just gives you an idea of our website, many of the things that we do. You would go to the live streaming. We have the Sunday services at NBC, our Bible study and Christian education. we're getting ready to go on a fast. So what we did, they just put this up here. We're starting a fast on Monday. So what we do is we created a brochure on why we're fasting, what is the purpose of the fasting, but then we put the information up on our website. So then people then could just go to our website, members, and see what's going on with the fast. So it's going to come up here in a minute. Now, this then tells the specifics of our fast for clarity. It gives the details over here, as you can see, the date, the time. It talks about the fasting schedule, why we're fasting, the meditation, all of this, so that members can, instead of actually being there hearing it, if they weren't there for whatever reason, they can just go to the website and then get all the information relative to what we're doing. It keeps a calendar of the things that we're doing. Here's our Facebook page. Now this is our Facebook page. That's our new logo that we just recently designed. But these are all the things about the church ministry that people can actually examine. These are some of the comments of people who have visited our service. This is one of our services, and this is excellent that we can just go right here. This was one of our just recent worship services, and you can just pull up on Facebook. Are they able to put the sound from that? Okay. You can't hear the sound, but we're actually, you can hear it through the computer. But this is actually just, I think this was last Sunday. It was just last Sunday, and this was our worship team and our worship choir going, and we were having services. Now that only runs for like 30 minutes. I'm sorry, 30 seconds. But it gives a person a clip of what happened in the service.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it might be 30 seconds. Here's another instances of somebody who, another instance of our worship team. And you see we have the screens in the church that we utilize as well. This was the announcement about the lock-in that we just had with our teenagers. So we actually prepare commercials and just don't get up and read the announcements from a bulletin. During the service, offering, we will actually have video announcements, and the announcements are actually seen. That was one of the clips of the announcements given for the teen lock-in. Now, all that design that's in the background, they do that. I don't do it.
Right.
But they have free reign to do it. This is the groundbreaking, and we just had our groundbreaking services. So somebody was out there with the camera, and they were getting testimonies. You can't hear it, unfortunately. Where's your sound at?
Bring the sound up, Jeff. Max it out.
Number one.
We're on number one.
You're hearing it a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah.
Not only am I excited for New Bethel Church and this center, I'm excited for Wyandotte County and what we are about to put in the atmosphere. We are a blessing to this community, and this community
These are our members.
and we are going to empower it and thank God for today.
These are millennials and Generation X's. She's one of our youth leaders as well. Now you see the branding up in the corner, we have our logo. Everything you do, you should brand your particular church.
Praise the Lord, everybody. I'm so excited about the ceremonial.
Photo bomb.
Rosie Summers. Oh, God.
one of the other pastors who was there. But this just gives you an example. Come on and give God some praise. So I just wanted to give you an example of just some of the things that we do. Our Facebook is very involved, very active, but again, you have to have somebody monitoring it every week. Members go there just to know what's going on, to get updates, all right? To get updates. And so while they're getting us back to the PowerPoint, any questions from what you've seen so far, or you'd like any clarification anymore? Yes, ma'am.
Did you hire someone to make your website, or your millennials did?
Very good question. We actually retained a company to do our website. And again, it can range from the minimal cost to how many bells and whistles that you want. All right? You have to build it, and then you have to have a subscription or a service to keep it monitored. All right? But I see that as an investment. For instance, the radio broadcast that we were paying was like $300 to $400 a week, and nobody was listening to it.
Right.
So what I do, take that money and then use that to build and do other things that with the internet, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
That people are utilizing.
Absolutely.
Okay. So just put it back onto the slide presentation.
Okay, should be coming up.
All right, very good. Okay, good. So we'll find where we're at. So again, the website, that's what you just saw there. Constant contacts. That is a service that's very inexpensive that I would suggest that you look into. What you do is, through that service, you can send out as many announcements as you want in a month's time to your congregation. You can break it down to sections. And I sent one to Pastor. We might be able to pull it up after lunch. And it just talks about what's coming up. So not only do you have the video announcements on Sunday, then a person gets an email that has the announcements that are sent to them by email as well. Okay? So we do video announcements, webinars. Now, the company that we use is called Webinar Jam. What is a webinar? A webinar is at my house, okay, or at your church, or at a specific office. I can sit behind my computer. What I would do is send out invitations to anybody who wants to join in on what I'm teaching.
Right.
People then can tune in from their internet, from their computer, from their living room, their family room, wherever they're at, and tune into me while I'm teaching. That's called a webinar.
Right.
Then they have the ability to ask questions.
Right.
They have the ability to ask questions. I can respond back through the computer.
Right.
So we've got about 35 to 40 ministers. Now, I meet with my ministers normally once a month.
Right.
We have a ministerial alliance. Well, sometimes it's challenging because ministers are traveling from all over. They work sometime all day. You know what it's like.
Right.
When Deacon Du Bois picked me up, we were in the midst of traffic.
Right.
The rush hour traffic, getting from the airport to Avondale. Not Avondale. It took us so long. So sometimes it's inconvenient for people always coming to the church.
Right.
This now enables me to be home at my home office from behind the computer and actually teaching all of my ministers or giving them instructions without them having to travel to church.
Right.
Utilizing technology. Because every meeting does not have to be at church. I wish somebody say amen. Sometimes you can just be at home and still meet. Then you have a meeting at 8, a meeting at 8:30, a meeting at 9. Ain't man, it's too much.
Right.
And after a while, your gas, the fuel and all of that, and then your time, by the time you're heading home, if you're like Eddie, you might be falling asleep on the way back home. The key is you have to use technology to your advantage.
Right.
Podcasts, we've already talked about the podcast. And then cinematography and movies. I believe that as apostolics, we miss something when we said movies is something we should not attend.
Right.
We really missed. That's an instance where I believe we took a behavior and made it a doctrine.
Right. Right.
Because you was going to hell
Right.
if you went to the movies. I'm telling the truth.
Amen.
But I believe we missed it. How many people have been reached through cinematography?
That's right.
And we had in our churches
There it is.
individuals who were directors, who were gifted in directing, writing, who were gifted in acting, who were gifted in the technical aspects. And when the church did not use that gift, they had to then go to the world.
Right. Right.
I use movies. Listen, please don't stone me. I use clips of movies when I'm preaching on Sunday. Blasphemy. What are you talking about? Anybody seen the movie Finding Nemo?
Yes.
Some of y'all got kids. You've seen it several times. I used a clip of Nemo. You saw our screens. So I was ministering, preaching, and then I put up a clip of Nemo. Do you remember when Nemo's dad, I forget what his name is. Marlon? She knew how I knew. He was trying to find Nemo, who was in Australia, remember? And he had to get there. And remember, there was an Australian current under the ocean.
Yes.
That current immediately took him right there. Remember?
Right.
If he got in the current, in a matter of minutes,
Right.
he would be right there in Australia. And that's a natural current that runs under the ocean.
Right. Right.
I showed that and then preached how there is a current you can get in God. You don't have to praise anymore. You don't have to worship. If you can just get in that current, and you can be immediately into the presence of God. Without any effort, without even swimming, you just ride to where God. I think we baptized several people that way. But it's showing how even using a movie clip can be used for a message. Somebody say amen. Online giving.
Right.
Now, first of all, I hope every church has a means by which people can give electronically by debit card or credit card.
Right.
If you do not have that, it's like you still having a phone in your house. Or you're still using a track.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
Millennials do not have checkbooks.
Right.
They don't use checks.
Right.
Now, I'm a baby boomer. I reconcile my checkbook every month. Now, the next level after credit cards and debit cards is giving online.
Right.
Every church should have, I shouldn't say should, but you need to consider having online giving. We use what is called Givelify. We were one of the first churches in the country that signed up with this company. And When you go to Givelify, you find my church. Just put in New Bethel Church KC. My picture comes up, a picture of our congregation. From here, you can actually give your tithing
Yes. Right.
and your offering and any other special gifting.
Right. Right.
I'm going somewhere with this. It's very easy. Listen. And the majority of my millennials use this
Right.
to give.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right.
Look, they don't wait till Sunday to give.
No.
That's right.
That's right.
Right.
When they get paid on the spot,
Right.
they give their tithe. So if they give paid on Friday, right then they give their tithing and their offering.
Right. Right.
They don't even wait till Sunday. Now, does it really work?
Yes. Amen.
Just from Givelify, we received last year something like $225,000
Wow. Yes. Wow.
that was given to the ministry through Givelify.
Yes.
That's not the credit card, that's not the debit card.
Right.
And it represented maybe about 20-25% of the total giving was given through Givelify.
Yes.
So when you don't have these means, you're then missing revenue.
Right. Right.
They can come to the church.
Amen.
And if somebody comes to the church and you don't have the means to take their credit card or debit card, then they leave because they can't give.
Right. That's right.
So again, these are just tools of how technology can be used in the church ministry.
Yes.
Does it cost you something? Yes, it costs like a .015, I can't remember, for every check, but it's minimal.
Right.
And besides, if nobody was giving anything, I don't mind paying a little bit.
Right.
All right? And it's relevant. It's relevant. And if you don't have those means, then you miss some things. Marco Polo, that's just one of many social mediums. Now, let me just, I'm supposed to end at 12, and I know how people get when they get hungry.
Yes.
So we'll just take a few more minutes. I'll let the bishop decide. We'll have lunch. We're going to have lunch?
Yes.
Is it a good lunch? Thank you, Jesus. All right. All right. Amen. And I'm really going to be hurt because you're going to have a full stomach sitting in these wonderful chairs and the light's going to be dim. Y'all pray for me. Hallelujah. Because even when those lights went out a few minutes ago, some of y'all took a little nap. I saw you. I didn't blast you this time. Because I normally say 2 things don't do in my class. One is fall asleep.
All right.
And the other is make sure you take notes. But okay, all right. Now, I do want to give you some information before we dismiss. And has this been blessing to somebody? I hope that you have learned some things. Facebook. How many are familiar with Facebook?
Amen.
All right. If you're not, Facebook is a social media. I showed you the church's Facebook page. Facebook, there are 2+ billion users on Facebook. There's a ministry page we have, which is New Bethel Church Ministries, and then I have my personal page,
Right.
Adolphus Glenn Brady.
Right.
Now, as a personal page, the max you can have is 5,000 friends. I keep 5,000 friends.
Right.
I've got hundreds that are waiting for me to accept their friendship, but you only have a max of 500. If you do not do personal, then you become a public figure.
Right.
I have chosen not to become a public figure at this time. Because sometimes when you go public, then you get any and everything.
Right. Right.
And I don't know if I'm ready for any and everything right now. Now, the church has upwards to almost 4,000 likes, or 4,000 people who are following us. The church is on a public page, okay? It is not personal. So the church has a page, and then I have a page. So you can go to my Facebook page, and I encourage you to go to our church Facebook page, and certainly you can like us or follow us. YouTube, now where there was 2+ billion users on Facebook, that's billion around the world. YouTube has 1.5 billion users. People who actually subscribe to YouTube. What is YouTube? Remember, a video subscription. Instagram, 800 million users. Now you can't see it too well because of the color of the lighting, but the church is on Facebook, it's on YouTube, and it's on Instagram. All right? We have a Twitter page, but we really are active with that at the moment. There are 330 million users. As you know, President Trump is one of the top Twitter users. Maybe that's why I don't want to be active on Twitter. But yes, 330 million. Now, when you look at the perspective, Twitter is far behind Facebook.
Right.
It's far behind YouTube. And the unique thing about Twitter, you can only use a certain number of characters.
Right.
They've expanded it, but still it's limited. Whereas Facebook, you can put a whole dialogue on there.
Right.
Twitter only minimizes a certain number of characters. All right, that's why, again, getting back to your question on English, sometimes they use the means to get their message across as short as possible.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So, the president and many other top artists, they'll have a Twitter page. Now, remember, they have many different pages, just like the church.
Right.
Sometimes top people actually hire individuals to do their pages for them.
Right.
That's why even in the church, you got to be careful of who you have that's representing you.
Right.
Because you can't say something that you might feel if it doesn't represent what the church feels.
Right.
Because if you're writing on behalf of the church, it's got to be what the church believes. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
And then this is Reddit, these are the top 5 social users. Now there's more, but I just put the top 5 on here. All right? And this was as of February 8th, which is accurate up to last week.
Right.
All right?
Right.
And then the New Bethel will end after this. Even though the church has its own Facebook page, pay attention. Each one of these ministries have their own Facebook page.
Right. Right.
And the reason is they then communicate within their groups through Facebook.
Right.
So not only does the church have a Facebook page, the Ministerial Alliance has a Facebook page. Now, these are closed pages. You can control who you want to participate on your Facebook page. And if somebody wants to be on it, they have to then send an invitation. Somebody hear what I'm saying?
Right.
So all of the ministers, again, just like I have the video, the webinar, the ministers send out announcements among themselves, and they'll follow everything on Facebook. The men's ministry has its own Facebook page. The women's ministry has its own Facebook page. The music department has its own Facebook page. Children's church has its own Facebook page. 8-count dance ministry, the nursery ministry. We have what is called a book club ministry. The Light Book Club, youth and young adults, teen ministry, and we have a community development corporation. Each one of these have their own Facebook page. So it's not just the church. You see what I'm saying?